What's up guys, Paul here from ecommercegold.co.uk, and in this review video I'm going to be looking at the world's most popular e-commerce platform, WooCommerce. Now WooCommerce isn't a standalone platform like a lot of the other platforms I review. Instead, WooCommerce is a plugin for the WordPress CMS, and WordPress is the world's most popular website builder by far, so it was only natural that at some point there was going to be a way to sell via the WordPress platform. Now WooCommerce used to be a completely independent plugin. It used to be a completely different company. It was actually acquired by the Automatic Group, which is the kind of group behind the actual WordPress platform, and it became the official e-commerce plugin for the WordPress system. So that's made it really popular, and it's seen off a lot of competition over the years to become the biggest and most popular e-commerce platform in the world. And for this review, it is a little bit awkward because there's a lot of things that I can't compare directly with other platforms, because WordPress is a self-hosted solution, which means you're responsible for sourcing the hosting, then you install the software on it afterwards. It's completely different to the likes of Shopify or BigCommerce, which is a hosted solution. So I'm going to try and keep it as much the usual structure as I do in my review videos. And with that said, let's jump into my computer so I can get started with this review. Now, the first thing I did want to show you is just how popular this platform is. Now, this is the WooCommerce homepage, and if you scroll down, if you look here, it's been downloaded over 90 million times. Now, that doesn't mean to say there's 90 million websites out there running on WooCommerce, but the actual plugin has been downloaded over 90 million times. That's incredible. That's like mind-blowing figures. I know that quite a few of those are mine because I've downloaded it for a few sites, because I have actually ran a WooCommerce store for a couple of years, so I do know the platform quite well. I know the good bits and the bad points, which I'm going to cover in this video. But I'm going to jump into ecommercegold.co.uk just because there's some stuff that I've covered there which I can go over. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is WooCommerce pricing. Now, yes, WooCommerce as a plugin itself is completely free to use. You will never be charged for the basic WooCommerce plugin. But that doesn't mean to say that it's completely free, because when you're using a WordPress site, you need to have hosting. So you need to be paying for hosting every single month. There are free hosts out there, but really they're not really that good, and they're definitely not a great option for e-commerce sites. So you do want to buy some decent hosting, and if you want to check out what I think are the best hosts, if you go onto ecommercegold.co.uk, I've got a post that I'll leave in the description below too, which is who I think are the best hosts for e-commerce sites. Now, that is the one aspect when it comes to pricing of WooCommerce, is the hosting. But there are other things you do need to factor in when it comes to the pricing of WooCommerce. The first thing is plugins. Plugins, there are a huge selection of free plugins out there, but occasionally you will need to buy a premium plugin, and these can range from a few dollars up to a couple of $100s. And the reason you may need to buy these premium plugins is because sometimes the free ones just don't do enough, and a lot of the free plugins don't have the specific integration with WooCommerce. That is a paid feature of a lot of the plugins. Yoast is a great example for this. Yes, you can use it with WooCommerce with the free one, but it has much better integration when you go for the premium package. So that is one of the things you do want to consider, is how much the plugins are going to cost, and you don't want to invest too heavily in plugins because it can make WooCommerce really expensive really quite quickly if you're not careful. Another pricing thing is themes, but I'm going to cover that in a little bit more detail in a little bit. So what features do you get with the WooCommerce plugin? Well, the core WooCommerce plugin is actually pretty light on features, to be honest. And it's been designed this way because it's a very flexible and versatile plugin, and the way it's been designed is to just offer you basically the core features of e-commerce. So you get a shopping cart, so people can buy on your website, and you can sell physical or digital products straight away with the WooCommerce plugin. So it doesn't matter which kind of business model you're going for, you can sell those kind of products. The only real e-commerce feature you get with it is you can create discount codes and discount coupons in the native core plugin, which is quite a good feature to start with. This is a premium feature on other platforms. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the features of WooCommerce, but you do get all the features of the WordPress platform as well. And one of the main features and benefits of using WordPress is its SEO functionality and SEO ability, because WordPress is really good for SEO, especially when you use good SEO plugins. And one of the main features you get is the blogging software that's built into WordPress. And this is where you can really make your WooCommerce site stand out from so many other websites, because the blogging feature and the blogging functionality is just so much better than any other platform out there. But yeah, it does come pretty light on features. And that's where the WordPress plugin library comes in. And I'm going to show you this quickly. So I'll jump into, this is my demo store, demo WordPress site that I've installed WooCommerce on. And if you just go down to plugins, add new, when it loads, and if you type in WooCommerce here, you'll see how many plugins come up. And there's over 7,000 plugins that have WooCommerce mentioned in the description, and these offer a variety of different functionalities, from payment gateways to booking websites to subscription sites to membership sites. All these kind of things can be done with WooCommerce as long as you choose the right plugins to go with the core WooCommerce plugin. So there is a lot of functionality potential and lots of feature potential with the WooCommerce platform, but as its core platform, it is very, very light. So the next thing I do want to talk about is the hosting and performance of WooCommerce. And it's something people do talk about, is that WooCommerce doesn't perform that well. But there's a lot of elements that goes into how well WooCommerce does or doesn't perform, because it's a lot down to you and how you've configured your site and the hosting you choose as to how well your WooCommerce site performs. I managed to get my site working really quite quickly when I was using it because I had it optimized. I was on good WordPress hosting, I used good optimization plugins, and I was optimizing my images and things like that. And this is where it makes a big difference to how good or bad your WooCommerce site is, because you need to spend time configuring it and just getting it set up properly, because if you just install it and then don't optimize it, you're going to have quite a slow website. But as kind of a benchmark, I actually installed on my demo site, I installed WooCommerce and I run it through Pingdom's speed tool, which is my testing tool that I use whenever I do performance testing on platforms. And it actually returned a 0.95 second load time, which is really, really impressive and beats a lot of other platforms. Now, obviously this is a very basic install. It just had WordPress and it just had WooCommerce. There was nothing else going on in there. There was no optimization plugins. It was on the basic storefront theme, which is a theme that's made by WooCommerce. So it does work really, really well with it. And I had no other plugins or anything else slowing it down. So this is only a basic benchmark, but it's not hard to get a sub 2 second load time for a WooCommerce store. I know that from personal experience because I've done it myself. And as you can see, I have wrote a short guide on Ecommerce Gold on how you can make your WooCommerce site faster. So if you're going to use WooCommerce, I would suggest checking that one out. The next thing I want to talk about is the theme selection on the WooCommerce platform. Now, WordPress has its own theme library, just the same as it's got its own plugin library. And if you actually search WooCommerce in the WordPress theme library, it will generate over 1,000 results for themes that are compatible with the WooCommerce plugin. Now, some of these have very, very good integration and are built specifically for WooCommerce. Others are themes that just have limited WooCommerce integration. So you do need to try these themes out and see which one you think is best and which one has a lot of really good integration features so it works properly, because you can run into some issues with themes if the integration isn't that great. But outside of the WordPress theme library, there is a selection of free themes, and there's hundreds, possibly even thousands of premium WooCommerce themes out there. Now, you can buy these direct from developers such as ThemeIsle, or you can go to an online marketplace. And the best one out there, in my opinion, is Theme Forest, which is part of the Envato market group. And if you actually type WooCommerce in here, you will see how many results there are. Look, another 6,000 results just for WooCommerce on Theme Forest. Now this isn't factoring in all the ones you can buy direct from developers. So when it comes to theme selection, nothing even comes close to WooCommerce. It really doesn't. None of the hosted platforms can come anywhere close to competing. So that's pretty much an overview of the features and everything you get with WooCommerce. So let's jump in and see what it's actually like. So what's it like to get started with WooCommerce? Well, WooCommerce is a little bit more challenging to set up in some respects than some of the other platforms, because if you're starting this website from scratch, you actually need to get WordPress set up first before you can get WooCommerce set up. Now, if you want me to do a video on that showing you how to get WooCommerce set up properly and get it running so you've got a good foundation to build your online store, leave a comment below and I will get around to doing that as soon as I can. But I want to know that people actually want me to do that before I go ahead and do it. So I will go through in that video, if you want me to do it, all the steps you need to do and a lot of things that are missing from a lot of guides out there on how to set it up properly. But to get started with WooCommerce, once you've got WordPress installed, it's pretty easy. You just go to the Add Plugin section under the plugins and you type in WooCommerce, and it's always the first result that comes up. Simply click install, then activate. Now on your first install, you will be taken through a short setup procedure where you set up your business information, your PayPal gateway, set up your basic delivery methods, things like that. It's a pretty good way to get started with the WooCommerce platform. Now, if you are going to be using WooCommerce, I would highly recommend that you also install this plugin as well, the PDF invoices and packing slips, because it fills a big hole in the WooCommerce functionality, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you in a little bit. Because obviously you can see that I haven't installed it. All I've got is the core WooCommerce plugin on my demo site. It's pretty simple to get started with the WooCommerce plugin. Simply install it, activate it, follow the online guide. It is worth going through it because it does take you through the basic things you need to do in order to get WooCommerce set up properly. So once you've got it all set up, it's now navigating around it. Now the WordPress dashboard, in my opinion, is one of the best dashboards out there, and it's definitely been the kind of inspiration for a lot of other platforms, because a lot of other platforms have gone for this side navigation menu. Now WooCommerce comes in with this little section here, 3 headings. This analytics one is new, that never used to be there. It just used to be WooCommerce and products, and this is where you can start setting up your website. You can start setting up your products, your categories and things like that. So let's jump into that and show you what it's like to create a new product on the WooCommerce system. Now there's 2 ways you can do that. You can either go into products, then add new, or you can just go on the hover menu and click add new straight away. Now the add new product page is based on the old WordPress editor. It's not based on the new Gutenberg editor. That is just for posts and pages. Instead, they've stuck with the original one because it just works really well as a way of setting up a product. So setting up a new product on WooCommerce is really simple. Once you've gone to the add new page, just simply enter your product title and it will generate a URL based off this. Now, to start with, you do want to set your permalinks up properly, which is done under the settings menu here, so that you're actually using your product name as your URL, because if not, it will just generate random numbers or it will generate dates. So you want to set your permalinks up first. I'll show you quickly how to do that. So you go on settings, permalinks, wait for it to come up, and you always want to go with post name. If you use any of the other options, it doesn't generate a very nice URL, SEO friendly URL for your products. Instead, you want to go with post name because this will use your product title. So that's how you set up your permalinks. Once you've done that, it will generate a nice URL for your product. So when you go into add new product, type your product name and this will become your URL. Now this is your main description right here. Now WordPress is a little bit different than some other platforms because you actually get 2 descriptions within WordPress. This is your full description and this is what sits below your product images. And this is where you want to include the body of your information. So any specifications, things like that, is what you want to include in your description, because this is going to be what search engines pick up on. It's what it's going to read and pick out the information for your products. You then get the specific WooCommerce section. Now this is where you set your price, you set your inventory, your shipping, linked products, attributes, Attributes are a really good thing to set up on WooCommerce because it does help your site rank, and it also helps you organize your products a little bit better. And people can use this if you set your sidebars up within WooCommerce, so people can filter by attributes. And so you can have color, size, any kind of attribute that goes to the product, you can set up in here, and then you can set a filter system up in your sidebar, and it just makes it easier for customers and visitors to your site to be able to navigate your site and find the exact product they're looking for. The custom product attribute is a really useful feature, and it's worth reading up on it and learning how to use this because it will be beneficial to your site. And then you've got your advanced section, so you can add purchase notes and things like that. There are also more options you can get, and this encourages you to install additional plugins from the WooCommerce team. So it's up to you if you want to investigate that. And then you move on to your short product description. Now this is what sits next to your product image. So you've got your product image there and your short description there. Now this can vary from theme to theme because different themes have different layouts. But generally that's the way this works. You'll have your image, your short description, and then your full description will sit below both of these. So this allows you to add a lot of content to your product page, and potentially more content than you can get with other platforms because you have these two product sections. So that's how you set up your new products. You can then also choose your product category, add your product images here. Now, product images is split into two sections. So you've got your main product image, and this is what will appear on the category pages and things like that. And then you have your product gallery. So if you've got additional pictures, so if you've got it from different angles or you've got different colors, things like that, that's where you will put those images right there. Now you can set up variations on WooCommerce as well, but you do need an additional plugin to do that. Unfortunately, you can't do it in the core plugin. You do have to install an additional one for that. And that's where it comes in. There's lots of plugins you can install that can add a variety of functionality. So you can really customize WooCommerce to be exactly how you want it to be. Now, adding a new category is really simple as well, much more simplified than the product page. You just type in the name and then it will automatically generate your URL. It calls it a slug on WordPress, which isn't the nicest name in the world, but it automatically will generate you an SEO friendly URL, which is really, really good. And you can create as many parent and subcategories as you want on the WooCommerce platform. This is really good for creating a nice product hierarchy, and when you factor that in with the product attributes as well, it makes it really easy to navigate and search around your products on the WooCommerce platform. It's one of the things I really do like about it, and it's very SEO friendly in that respect because it's easy for search engines to crawl your site and see how things link and go into one another. It's one of the reasons why WordPress and WooCommerce is so good for SEO. So that's your product categories, and you can easily go in and edit these. You can turn these like main categories into subcategories if you want to reorganize your hierarchy. It's really, really simple to do. So how do you manage your inventory? Well, in WooCommerce, once again, it's slightly different to everywhere else because they've got a quick edit feature. And this, for anybody who's used WordPress before will know this, is you can edit certain things because this is usable whether it's your posts, your pages, your products. This feature is available on any basic content you put on your WordPress site. But when it comes to WooCommerce, what you can do is you can go in, you can edit the SKU of the product, you can edit the title, the URL. If you've got it set to manage inventory within the product page, if you've selected that option, you'll also have an option in here to edit your inventory directly from this menu, and then you just click update and it will automatically change all that for you. So you don't have to go back into the product to edit all of these things. It just makes it really, really easy to manage your inventory. You can also change the product category as well if you want. All this can be done from this quick edit menu. It's one of the best ones out there for managing your inventory in the product overview page. You can also do bulk edits as well because you can select multiple products, click on edit, and it will allow you to make some changes to the product. Now you can't change product titles or things like that, but you can change categories, you can change prices, things like that. So you can do discounted prices directly from this menu. This makes the product overview section of WooCommerce really, really good, and you can just do so much from the product. The only reason you will really have to go back into your product is to change the description or to change the images. To do anything else, you can do it all from this main overview menu, which is really good. And if you have a large inventory, it makes life so much easier because you can just literally go through and quickly edit things and get things done really, really quickly. Now the next section is order management. Now I created a test order just for this video so you can see what it's like, and this is where you need that additional PDF invoices and packing slips plugin, because there's not a lot you can actually do from the order management page, the order overview management page in WooCommerce. Because if you select the product's bulk action, you can just change the status. You can't print off packing slips or anything like that from the main order overview menu. When you install the PDF invoices and packing slips plugin, you can print off all your invoices in bulk or individually from this order overview menu, and this just makes life so much easier when you've got a large number of orders coming in. Now in the native plugin there's no way of printing orders off, so that's why that other plugin is so useful. Even if you click on the order, there's still no way of printing it off. You just can't do it directly from the core WooCommerce plugin. It just doesn't work because there's no functionality. But if you want to manage it all from your dashboard and you want to print the invoices off directly from your WordPress dashboard, then you are going to need that PDF invoices and packing slips plugin. Best thing is about it, it's free to use and it offers all that functionality straight away as soon as you install it, and it just integrates really, really well. I am really surprised that Automatic, who own WooCommerce, haven't actually acquired that plugin and just made it part of the core WooCommerce setup, because it just makes sense. It's pretty much everybody who installs WooCommerce will automatically install that plugin as well, because it just makes life so much easier. So that is how you add new products, you manage your inventory, then you manage your orders. But what about theme customization? Because as I said, there's lots of themes available for the WordPress and WooCommerce system. But how do you go about customizing your theme? Well, what you need to do for that is, once you've installed your theme, and another quick tip with WordPress is, if you are using a third-party theme, always create a child theme for it, because when you don't create a child theme, any updates to your theme will automatically undo any changes you've made. So if you've made any changes to the code or anything like that, it will automatically override that when the theme updates. Whereas if you create a child theme, any updates to the parent theme won't affect your child theme. Any changes you make will remain. So that's one of the things you do want to do, is always make sure you create a child theme whenever you're using a theme on WordPress or WooCommerce. Now the best way to customize your theme is to go into the front end of your website, and you use customize here. Click this button and it will bring up a selection of options that you can do to your site. So when you go into the customizer, you will see a variety of options here, and it will depend on the theme you're using as to how many options you get here, because as I said, some have really good WooCommerce integration, others not so great, and it will depend on the developer how many options they put in for customizing your store. Now this is Storefront. This is like the default WooCommerce theme that's made by WooCommerce. So the integration is really, really good, and you do get lots of options, and there's lots of things you can do within this menu to really customize the way your WordPress and WooCommerce site looks. So if you go into WooCommerce settings, you can actually edit your category page. You can also go in and edit your product page and product images. And this means that you can start customizing how your site looks. As I say, it does depend on the theme you're using. Some of them are really good, some of them aren't great. Now, while I'm in the front end of my site, you will see that there's a few headings here. These are auto-generated pages by WooCommerce. As soon as you install it, it will generate these pages. Now, you don't have to leave these here if you don't want to. Just go into your appearance, menus, and you can actually remove these from the menu. They just automatically populate as soon as you install it, because this is how WooCommerce works on WordPress. It creates pages for these sections. So your checkout, your my account page, your shop page, your cart, it will automatically generate these in the page format, which you can see if you go to pages. Now, there's not much editing you can really do to majority of these pages, because they just work on WooCommerce shortcode. So if you go into checkout, for example, you will just see a shortcode for WooCommerce checkout. So you want to leave these pages alone and just let them do what they need to do, which is allow people to buy from your site. Now, there is a new section that's been added to WooCommerce recently, and I'm going to cover that right now, which is the analytics. Now, it does take a little while to load. I'm not sure why this is, but it gives you a good reporting breakdown of your orders, so you can see how many returns you've had, sales. There's a lot of information within the analytics section, and it is really good because it was something that was very lacking on the WooCommerce system originally, because you needed to install basically third-party plugins in order to get good analytics of how your store was doing. But WooCommerce have worked on this. I've added lots of analytics to the plugin, so you can do lots of analyzing of your store, see how you're performing, see how well you're doing. Now, to see the amount of visitors you're getting to your site, where they're coming from, things like that, you will need to use another plugin. There are a lot of options out there. If you want to just use Google Analytics, you can use that. My personal preference is, along with Google Analytics, is I like Jetpack. I like their analytics that they do, because it shows real-time visitors to your site, where they're coming from and what pages they've visited. I really like that one. It's my personal go-to one. I use it on pretty much all of my websites, just because it's live. You see exactly what's happening on your site. So that is the new analytics feature within WooCommerce. I really like it. It's definitely a great addition to the WooCommerce plugin. But there's one thing I just remembered that I didn't cover earlier in the video, and that's payment gateways on WooCommerce. Now, this is quite an important thing, because with a lot of other platforms, you get a lot of payment gateways built into it. You don't get that with WooCommerce. The only payment gateway that's actually built into the core plugin is PayPal Standard. If you want any additional payment gateways, then you have to use additional plugins. Now, there are ones available for PayPal Express and Stripe from the WooCommerce team, but these actually don't get rated all that well by people who've used them. But there are ones from third-party developers that do get far higher ratings. If you want to use any that aren't free, so I think the free ones are PayPal Express, Stripe, Klarna, Notchex. Outside of these ones, if you want to use more traditional payment gateways such as like WorldPay or SagePay, you do have to pay for these plugins, and these can be brought directly from WooCommerce, but they're not that cheap. They actually come in at $79 per plugin, and that's an annual fee. So you do need to factor that in if you are using any of these more traditional payment gateways. I'm not sure why they are so expensive, but it is an extra cost that can be incurred if you are using them. Generally, the integration is really good, but it's just something I wanted to cover because it's something that's very specific to WooCommerce, is that you don't get many payment gateways in the core one. You do have to install additional plugins to get these payment gateways working with your site. Just one more thing that I wanted to cover, because it is quite important. So, my conclusion of WooCommerce. Is it any good? Yeah, I do like the WooCommerce plugin. There's a reason why I used it for over 2 years on my own site, because it works, and it works pretty well. Now, you do end up installing quite a few additional plugins to get it working properly, because there's a lot of things that you soon find are missing from the core WooCommerce plugin. The first thing I noticed was not being able to print off invoices, so that's where PDF invoices and packing slips come in. And there's just other things you'll find that are missing, but even though they are missing, there's usually a plugin out there that will solve that problem for you. It's not like with some other platforms where if that feature's missing, you're kind of gonna have to live with it and you're stuck with it. You generally don't get that with WooCommerce, because somebody's probably had the same issue that you've had, and they've contacted somebody or they've developed their own plugin to solve that problem. Now, while it is a really good platform and there's so much versatility you get with the platform in terms of what you can do with it, the theme selection, the amount of plugins you can use, there are a few things that aren't great with the plugin. The thing with it being an open source platform is you are responsible for the security of your sites. So you need to make sure that you've chosen a host that has very good security on their servers, and then you are responsible for making sure your site is secure. So you've got to make sure your SSL certificate's good, you've got to make sure that your general website security is good. This is something you don't have to worry about with fully hosted solutions or even other WordPress integrations such as Ecommerce, because they take care of that for you on their servers. They take care of all the checkout process. With WooCommerce, you are responsible for that, and it's the only real negative I do have with the system. For some people, they just prefer having the peace of mind of that fully hosted checkout process, so they know that all that's secure, they don't have to worry about that. But if you're happy with dealing with that yourself, then WooCommerce is a great option, especially if you want something just slightly different to a standard e-commerce store. WordPress and WooCommerce will definitely give you the base to build that kind of unique e-commerce site out. So that is my conclusion of WooCommerce. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could smash that like button, because it really does help with the YouTube algorithm and growing this channel out. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Stay awesome, and I'll see you all in the next video.